How's it going, YouTube? This is Clocknet speaking. I hope you guys are well. I have to speak softly because everyone is asleep and I don't want to wake anybody. Anyhow, sorry that I haven't been on for the past while. I've been really sick and I've been doing a special diet cleanse, etc., etc., so that's why I've been feeling out of spirits. I'll make an update video about that in the days to come. But anyway, as the title, as you see below, this video is going to be a bit different. It's a Halloween somewhat makeup tutorial upon a very influential person by the name of Malala Yousafzai. This girl was famous for liberating women in Pakistan, for letting them or fighting for their right to have education. She was shot by the Taliban, but miraculously she did survive. I got this idea of actually making a tutorial about her when I saw or remembered in the last Halloween where I would see kids dressing up as Barack Obama or George Bush or etc. And I thought today that if they can do that, then why can't we impersonate Malala for Halloween? Just a thought. So I thought I would do a simple tutorial, which is very simple, on basically how to look and dress like Malala. First of all, you're going to have to understand that she probably doesn't wear makeup at all because she is very conservative. But when she has to come on camera, she has to wear some amount of makeup. For this look, you're going to need a shawl. Any sort of dress will do. Any long dress will sort of do. You don't have to go to any Indian store to get it. What you're going to need is a primer. This one is the Professional. Or if you don't want to use anything so expensive, you can surprisingly use Monistat. Now I know it's used for girls when we have leg rashes, but it also doubles as an excellent primer. Trust me, and it's way cheaper. Because you can tell she wears on camera very light makeup to the point it looks like there's nothing at all. She wears a tinted moisturizer. I'm going to use Too Faced Tinted Beauty Balm. Now for powder, I'm going to use Palladio rice powder. And, I need a sponge to blend the makeup in. And you're going to need a brush, of course. Just so you know, I bought 2 of these babies and got 1 rice paper blotting pads for free at Ulta. Just thought you'd like to know. Anyhow, I'm going to prime my face with, well, I'll just choose this one as it's the most popular. Now you're going to put it in areas which you feel it needs the most usage. I use it on my cheeks because they're rather rough and red. And well, we can talk as we go on. I lived in Pakistan for about 10 years. I didn't live where Malala lived. I lived in Faisalabad, which is known as the Manchester of Pakistan. It's famous for its textiles, like weaving clothes and such. It's also famous for being quite narrow-minded, in a sense that you could be a woman driving you can see I'm putting it on my nose as well. For example, if women would be driving cars, men would on purpose try to run them off the road. It happened to me once when I was with my mom. And over here. Forgive me, I'm not a professional. I'm just doing it the way I would normally do it. I think it's very brave that someone finally stood up for women. Someone finally recognized that we have rights as well. And she made a great sacrifice. She almost gave her life. Because let's face it, we know the Talibans are no joke, and when they say they're going to kill you, you better run, because they mean it. Because they can shoot anyone, even a little girl. They're probably even worse than the KKK. Now, let that sink into the skin for about a few moments, and we should move on to the tinted moisturizer. I'm using tinted moisturizer again because it it is the lightest in weight and feeling, but it will give you the most coverage. This one, Too Faced Tinted Beauty, I have to say I'm very proud of it because I have very scarred skin, and this stuff, and I've used a lot of tinted moisturizers in the past, and this is the only one I can remember that actually covered the best. The other ones just didn't work out as much. Hopefully, I'm planning to dress as Malala for Halloween. I wonder if others will do it too. Alright, putting it on. I would just dab it on to the places where I think it would need the most coverage, under my eye circles. Now you saw I had a spot, but it's starting to cover it, but it's all covered. You can see the potency of this stuff. This is my first makeup tutorial, so please have mercy, critics. And I blend it in with a sponge. Some people don't like to use sponges, some people like to use their fingers. You can do whatever works for you. Oh, you can see my spot again. I personally like to use a sponge because with fingers it gets so dirty. It's ridiculous. You don't have to use too much on it. You can just use what you feel that is appropriate. I'm using the respective amount because my skin requires it. It's a wonderful thing what Malala is doing. It's making different countries of the world and nations put aside their differences and learn to come together, appreciate the similarities we have, learn to understand and tolerate the difference we have, and to learn that whatever the media says isn't always true, like terrorism and such. A few people who've done lots of bad things, like 9/11 or the incident in Somalia, etc., etc. That doesn't necessarily mean that all people of that race are bad. They're just the bad sheep. And she's teaching us that. And when I see the Facebook comments, it makes me very happy to see. That people, most of them not even Muslim or Pakistani at all, are in awe about her or impressed. It feels as if people are coming together and they're putting their differences aside. And that is something we need to do. I'm putting the least amount of this coverage, of this substance on my forehead, because my forehead needs the least amount of coverage as it doesn't have any scars or anything. It's probably the cleanest part on my face. And that's saying something. When I lived in Pakistan, I had terrible acne. When I came to America, it went away. There. Oh, where is the cover? Where is the cover? Oh, here it is. Now we wait for it to dry. I put the Palladio powder in this container because although this is wonderful stuff, and it only costs about $4, but the packaging is inferior. It's really inferior. This stuff will make you look natural, like you're wearing nothing at all, which we're trying to attain. We don't want to have a heavy foundation look. We don't want to look like Kim Kardashian. We just want to look like Malala, a simple student with desires that every person needs to have. Let's just wait for this to dry. What I would do with this powder is I'd give it a bit of a shake, open it up, put this aside, and take the powder which is in here. Take my powder puff, blow off the excess, and I start dotting and dabbing. I'd never rub because that will just destroy your foundation that you made. Blow it off, start dabbing. This is just what I do. You may do as you wish, but this is how I feel it will keep the makeup to adhere, and it will keep the makeup from sliding off, etc., etc. You want to use as light as possible. You don't want to use too much because we don't want to look cakey. We don't want to appear as if we're wearing makeup at all. I hope that doesn't make a mess on my carpet. And so your face is basically done. Now, we come to the headscarf part. Malala, as many Muslim women, well, different Muslim women have different beliefs. Some prefer not to cover their head. I'm not one of them. I don't really cover my head except if I'm in a holy place. I generally keep it uncovered. That's just my choice. And let me just check and see if this is the right side. Sorry, wrong side. And some Muslim women, they prefer to cover their head like this. Oops, sorry. Where you can see no hair at all. You might have seen this in many women walking like this on the grocery store. Some women cover their face. And some women wear those niqabs or cover-ups on their head. But Malala, she chooses to wear her shawl like this, only exposing a certain portion of her hair. She wears her shawl like this. You take the shawl, as you can see. You can see this. Let me just move back. You take this end and you throw it over your shoulder. Like so. And it's important to keep your bosom covered because that's what you're supposed to do, as she does. Keep it like this. And you're basically done. This is basically how she wears her headdress. And I'll back up and I'll give you some more lighting. Excuse me. This is basically how she dresses. When you see her in her interviews. I thought it would be a fun idea for Halloween. Something new, something easy, something that people would not normally do. Because it's such a taboo in the society to adopt Islamic ways, particularly if you're not Islamic. But I thought it would be a cool idea. Excuse me. And anyhow, that was the tutorial on Malala Yousafzai's Halloween-inspired makeup. It's something simple and easy to do, and I hope I tried my best with this. And for some of you who can remember my old videos, I wore this dress many months ago. It's gotten quite loose now. It was my old dress I wore when I was going to a dinner party. I have the video. I'll probably put a link below. But anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and give me a suggestion or a comment, etc. on what else you'd like to see. Okay, thank you. God bless.